It's Kim here from Kyms Homestead with you here today. And in today's video I'm going to be bringing you getting ready to set up the new pantry. Now I've been looking forward to this for quite some time, and as much as I'm sure you have too. It's been a very long job and quite considerably harder than I thought it was going to be, but it's been worth it in the end. Anyway, let's bring you setting up the new pantry. This is what I've got left to go. I've emptied it out fairly well, but I still have a lot to go. So, let's line you up and let's get into it. Years ago I would have had that done and dusted. Not now. Ouch. Right, let's have another go. Come on. can't push it back and wheel it out. So it's going to have to go on my wheelie walker. Bugger. A few years ago, it would have been a piece of piss. Not now. Okay, off we go with one at a time. Well, as much as I want to finish this today, these big boxes I just can't move. So I'm going to have to wait for Mr. G to come and give me a hand. So I'll be back soon. Well, in moving around some of these boxes, I have found one that had some moisture forming on the top of it, of the plastic box. And unfortunately, this is the result. I have one full container of both ready-made stew meals and chicken meat and turkey meat that has all got to be thrown out. This unfortunately is the result of the movers being a little bit rough. And of course, obviously the hot weather didn't help. I think one of the lids of the containers, one of the stews actually popped off, which allowed moisture in, which of course signalled a buffet for the flies and the maggots. So I've already thrown out about a dozen jars. They were just too disgusting to show on the internet because they were full chock-a-block of these little darlings. So it's lucky we've got chooks next door. So I've already thrown out a bucket full for today, and no doubt they will get a bucket tomorrow and a bucket the next day. So that's one container down of all me meats and me stews. Bugger it. Well, there we go. All finally chucked out to the chooks. A lot of them were chicken breast that I'd canned. There were beef stews. There were chicken Chinese meals. And a couple of them were chicken legs. The chicken legs were from my own chickens, so that's 6 months worth of growing the chickens. There was about 6 legs to a container or jar. So that's about 6 chooks grown at 6 months apiece. Harvested, all the work in harvesting 6 chooks, all the feed that went into growing the 6 chooks, and all the work that went into jarring up the 6 chooks, all gone. Gone to feed actually the neighbour's chooks. So, yeah. But anyway, the jars are all washed up. 36 jars. No, beg your pardon. 26 jars lost. All gone. All that food, time and effort wasted. But anyway, the jars are good. So they've all been washed up. And now I will put them through the dishwasher at its longest, hottest cycle, which will completely sterilise the jars. What I've missed, the dishwasher will get. And I have scrubbed these things until there's nothing left to scrub. So, back to emptying out the spare bedroom so I can turn it into a pantry. And hopefully I won't find any more little surprises. And there we go. Close her up. I'm still learning how this thing works. Come on. All right. So, let's see. There we go. That's pretty much the longest one it will go for. Okay, coming down the hallway toward the new pantry room. And ta-da! My son and a friend came over and helped me clean out the last of the goodies in here. Oh, boy, am I glad this is done. Well, here I have some old rollaway shelving that I had in my last pantry. And this is what I kept my cans in, which kept them lovely and neat. And then as I pulled out a can, the next one just rolled down to the front. So these have been stored outside since we moved here. And I thought I would just give them a good clean before they go back into the pantry with all the cans back on it. So these I picked up a few years ago at our local tip shop. I think they were only about $5 each. They came out of a old shop, and gee, they've been good. They've been well worth the $5 I spent on each shelf. I actually wish that I had a few more. I have got some cheapies that I bought through those magazines that come to your door, but they're nowhere near as strong as these, which is, I mean, they do okay, and they're quite good for the small tins of tuna and things like that, but as far as your large cans go, I mean, I suppose they're all right for cat food too. So it's a good place to keep your cat food tins. You can sort of section them out into different flavours. But my cats have been sort of gravitating more towards the pouches now. They seem to like them better, and they will eat everything. Whereas the canned food, they didn't mind it the first night, but after that they sort of left it. So it was a bit of a, I mean, they ate it, but it was still a waste because they'd leave half of it there. So whereas the pouches, it's pretty much fresh every night, and I think they like that better. So even though the pouches are a little bit more, I think they're worth it because I'm not wasting as much cat food. Now that I don't have the chooks, I mean, I've got chooks next door, which is great, because any scraps that I have can just go into the chooks over the fence. I just chuck it over the fence and they're done. So, and the neighbours don't mind. I have asked. They certainly don't mind me feeding their chooks. So, and I don't mind getting rid of the scraps. I'd rather do that than to chuck it all in the bin, clogging up my bin, encouraging flies and rats and maggots and all the other lovely stuff that comes with food scraps. I compost what I can, of course, but some things you can't compost. So I'd rather give it to the chooks because there's plenty of other stuff I can compost. I did start out washing these, but honestly just a wipe over with a wet rag to get rid of the dust, maybe any fly shit that's on it, and that's about all it needs. Then I'm not splashing around in water everywhere. Alright. The neighbour's doing some work, I think. So there we go, there's the last one done. Now I'm going to put these up on a little wooden shelf that I've got, I had in the old pantry. And they will go nicely on that, and it lifts it up off the floor a little bit further so that I'm not bending down to get in and out of the last can or trying to see what I've got in it. So that'll be good. And I've got my son and grandson coming over on the weekend, And I've got some bookshelves that I brought from the old house, and I'm going to put them down along the wall in front of the shelving, so that I can put all my ready mix packets like cake mixes and risotto and boxes of spaghetti and all of that stuff, all the store-bought box stuff, can all go on those shelves out of the way, and that will free up my shelves, the big shelves that I just put in. That will free them up for all my canned goods. Okay, so one more little shelf to do. This one here is part of that one that I just told you about that I bought from the magazine. It all comes apart, it's very flimsy, but I will find somewhere for it because I just find them too handy to get rid of. So if you've got somewhere, a tip shop, a second-hand shop, a recycling shop, or anything like that, have a look around when you go, and you'll find some of these things occasionally, not very often, but occasionally, and you might be able to pick them up at really dirt cheap prices, and you can store so much food in them, it's not funny. Okay, I'll get and put these away. And here we are, the beginning of the pantry. I've got the initial start of the new shelf going in. I've got a lot more to do on this yet. So I've got to have some feet put in so that the weight of the shelving doesn't indent the new lino, and then the new shelves can go on, and all I have to do is work out what sort of spacing that I need for it. But I've also got to clear the fan, make sure that when I turn the fan on, I'm not knocking shelves or products go flying or anything like that. So the beginning of the pantry has started. And there we go, shelf number 2 goes in. They clear the fan quite well, and they're on the little wooden blocks. It's just a little piece of pine cut into a square with a piece of the old carpet nailed underneath it. Just a very, very small nail, like one of them carpet tack things. And yeah, so now it's time to put the bottom shelves on and try and get the spacings correct. And there we are, Patches checking it out. It's got to be princess approved. Okay, finishing up for the night, and I've got a couple more shelves left to go. That can be tomorrow's job. Starting to come together quite well. Already had one tragedy. I dropped a glass on my foot. Ah well. Should look good. Well, here we go, friends. They are all put together. Got 2 shelves with 6 shelves on each rack. So, this is probably the cleanest you will ever see it again. So now it's time to start filling the shelves. Now over here, I'll be putting in from one side and removing from the other, so the shelves keep to their fullest. And over here, down the centre is where I'm going to be pulling from. I do want to put a little strip along the front there, so that when I'm pushing jars from the back towards the front, they're not going to fall over the edge and smash on the floor. But that will have to wait until I can get down to Bunnings and pick up some wood and some paint and some screws. So I'll only do about 4 of the shelves that need that on them, and that's the shelves that are actually going to be holding jars. These bottom ones are for my big flower tubs, and on the floor is enough space to put big totes. Well, in putting away all of the groceries that I had and all the boxes, I found another few containers with spoiled jars. The lids had popped off or come adrift. So here I have another 20 jars. So in total, out of all of those boxes that I placed into the pantry, I lost a total of 46 jars. Not good, but considering, not too bad either. These are just a few pieces of craft balsa wood that I have drawn a grid pattern onto. Now these I just picked up from my local Bunnings store in their arts and crafts section, and I've drawn the grid on both sides, and from here I will just cut it out with a ruler and a Stanley knife. So what I've ended up with is 136 wooden labels that I can now paint a licorice black washable paint. Yeah, I won't be washing it, but it's the paint that I got from Bunnings. It's like it's all safe and everything else. But anyway, it was the bulk black that I wanted. And now I've got a whole heap of labels that I can paint and use in the pantry. So here are the tags that I've made for the pantry. Now the ones that you saw me cut out, I just painted black, which this is the side I'll be writing on. I did get one of those white chalk. It's supposed to be chalk anyway. It's a white marker. Doesn't show up very well, but it'll do. I did try the white out, but it sort of bled into the black a little bit. I wasn't overly happy with it, but I may see if I can get some of that white sort of like a liquid paint in a marker pen and see how that works. I'll probably try a number of things, but all I've done is stuck on some magnetic tape on the back, and it just sticks to the side like that, and I can take it off, and remove it and change it, oh boy, to wherever I want. And these are the markers that I'll be putting up in the pantry to label all of my products. Now I'll mostly be putting them up in the aisle that I'll be collecting the jars from, and I think hopefully I'll have enough to actually put on the back as well, so that I know when I'm loading up the jars I can pick the aisle that they're on and load from the back to the front. I've also managed to put up the rails. Sorry for the finger mark. This is just a curtain rod, and that will hopefully stop any jars from falling through onto the floor. And Mr. Trouble here is somewhere to help me, although I'm not sure how much help he's going to be. Well, my goodness, there was a lot of work there. Those big shelves, they were pretty easy to install. I didn't do them, I had someone do them for me, but they did a great job. That big blind, normally I would leave it down and the light would be off, because we don't want light coming into the pantry, degrading the quality of the food that's in there. So there we go. Now, since that video, my son came over and picked up a couple of large bookshelves that I had, and he also put them into the pantry as well, which was really helpful. And that's what I have put the majority of my purchased, like store-bought goods on, which you will see in the next video with my very first pantry tour. and I'm sure we're both looking forward to that. Well friends, I hope you enjoyed that video with putting together the new pantry. It was a very, very big job, and it has taken quite some time. The jars that I've lost wasn't really unexpected. It was a shame, considering a lot of those jars was my ugly chicken, which I'm a bit peed on, but it happens and there's nothing I can do about it. Unfortunately, at the moment, on special, chicken breast fillets are around $11 to $12 on special. That's per kilo. So it's very, very expensive stuff, and I jarred those last chicken breast fillets when they were around $7 to $8. So, and that was cheap then. So to lose them has been a big loss. The other stuff was basically just jams and chutneys and some stews and things like that. So, and a little bit of like topside steak. There was only one or two of those. So I wasn't as bummed about them as I was about losing the chicken. Anyway, so I have to start fresh with canning some more chicken, so I'm on the lookout for some sales, because I am about 10 days away from starting the Pantry Challenge. So that's going to be my annual winter 3-month Pantry Challenge. Now, I am this year going to try and drag it out to maybe 6 months. So we'll have to see. So this year I'm looking forward to the Pantry Challenge, organising the pantry, and just rotate. I'm able to see now that I've got it all in one place what I'm able, or what I've got, and what I need to actually go through. I've got a lot of old stock which I found sort of hidden in all different places. So this year my main focus on the Pantry Challenge is to rotate through that old stock and get rid of it. So in some of it I'm going to have to get very experimental and just see what I can get through, and that's why I thought I might do a 6-month Pantry Challenge. Now obviously just moving and everything else, I let the stock run down a fair bit before moving, so I'm not going to go all out and buy a whole heap of stuff, you know, like toilet paper and hand towels and cleaning stuff and things like that, just so that I don't have to buy it for the next 6 months. But what I want to do is just gradually go through all of my old stock, and I do have quite a lot of stuff which is in my big chest freezers. So something needs to be done with that before it gets freezer burnt. So I will be replacing a lot of what I have in the pantry with stuff that I've got in the freezer waiting for me to process it. So that's what I will be doing during the 6 months of this year's pantry challenge. What I will be saving this year, I plan on putting towards my getting the cat cage done down the side of the house, a new potting station put up, a new seed area put up, and hopefully putting in my garden ready for next winter, because my main growing season is winter. Spring, winter. I cannot grow anything through summer. It's just way too hot. We get temperatures of 45 plus here, and just everything burns to a crisp, no matter what you do, or bolts. So spring and winter is mainly my growing time. But to do that, I need a garden. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing. Trying to anyway. I will be getting some help, because there's no way I can do it now. I'm just too old and feeble, I'm afraid. So yes, I will be getting some help where I can. And where I can't, I will be paying somebody, and hopefully with what I save on groceries and going to the supermarket and shopping generally, I'll be putting towards the new garden patch and the cat cage. So that's my plan for the next few months. I will be upping my videos. I'll probably have one earlier in the week. If you want to see what I'm cooking through the week on the pantry challenge, please leave a comment down below. I don't know whether you like those videos, and I would be really very grateful if you could let me know what you want. What do you want to see me bringing to you? If you want weekly videos on what I'm having that night or not, just let me know. I would very much appreciate it. Anyway, if you've got any suggestions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. And I will leave a link to some other pantry challenge ideas in the comments below. All right, well, that's it for this video of setting up the pantry. And in next week's video, I'm going to bring you along for my first pantry tour in this house in 2024. So I'm looking forward to bringing that to you. All right, that's it from me for this time. I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Thumbs up.